thousands of loyal viewers out there. We actually do have a few viewers at these meetings, kind of surprises me.
Yes, I had a classmate at my class reunion say that he's been watching quite a few of them, and you know, he never thought about that before until this option became available. So it's there is a few viewers.
Yeah, it's pretty convenient. Dave, you said Jim Zons is in La Crosse. Is he going to join us? Do you know?
Well, I mentioned this to him. I asked him if he was, I had to step out of the last from the last speaker because that was scheduled to go to 4:30. So I don't know if he, you know, if he was into something very interesting, he might have stayed for that.
Oh, there he is, right on time.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is 4:30. I'll call the meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the Judiciary and Law Committee of the Dunn County Board of Supervisors. Let the roll call show that the 5 members of the committee are all present. Oh, and Jim Zons is even live with us tonight, as well as Chairman Bartlett and a number of staff. We have 2 sets of minutes, and if there's no objections from anyone, I think what I'll do is entertain a motion to approve both sets from August 23rd and August 30th. Does anybody have an objection to that? If not, Supervisor Vandermillen moves. Supervisor Zahn seconds. I saw his lips move. Anybody have any questions or corrections for the minutes of the August 23rd, August 30th meetings? Seeing none. All those in favor of the motion to approve, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any public comment today, Krista?
No public comment.
Thank you. That'll take us right to item number 5, staff reports. Those were in your packet that Katie sent out last week, one day. District Attorney is first. Andrea, do you have anything to add? Or does anybody have questions for Andrea regarding the District Attorney's office? Anything to add, Andrea?
I guess the only thing I would add is sort of getting used to trials post-COVID with the jury sitting in the, you know, the pews spread out. It's different, but getting used to it, and it seems to work to have the public or any spectators kind of view the trial from Zoom or another room. And so that seems to be going well. And then I did mention one of the trials we had in September. I was able to do it with another newer attorney. It was her first child sexual assault. So I feel very grateful that I have the staff now that I can do a trial with, you know, someone else, and, you know, being a little bit younger of an attorney, I think it's really beneficial to do it together and see how different styles work. So I'm happy about that. Just getting used to the new judges. You know, each judge kind of has their own way of doing things, and so that's keeping us busy. And I mentioned we did attend the DEC conference. There was a large showing from Wisconsin. I want to say at least 9 or 10 counties at this national conference attended. So that was good to see, and I found it beneficial. And then I'll put it in my new report for next month, but tomorrow I'm doing an outreach event at the Eau Claire Hmong Mutual Association with Eau Claire County DA's office, just to try to build better relationships with the Hmong community. We see some difficulty with victims sometimes moving forward and trusting us. And so we're hoping to have some open dialogue and discussions, and not only with the Hmong community, with anyone talking about victim rights. So that will be tomorrow night.
Good, sounds good. Anybody have any questions for Andrea in the district attorney's office? Supervisor Vandermill, I see your hand up. Go ahead, Carl.
I noticed that the Downsville homicide, a couple of people requesting a trial, which is set for, I think, next June and July. That seemed to me to be kind of a long time. Is that pretty standard for something like that? Or are we still facing a backlog, or what's the situation?
Well, the situation with one of the individuals, Ryan Steinhoff, not all of the mental health examiners came back with finding him not guilty by mental disease or defect. And so for that reason, I want a trial. The defense attorney said he was not prepared and wanted ample opportunity to find doctors. So that's sort of why there's a lot of experts too and a lot of crime lab individuals. And so the court calendar is pretty booked out, and then individual schedules are booked out, and the defense attorney wanted more time. I was hoping probably in the spring, but he wanted more time. And so Judge Meyer gave him until, I think, June for the trial dates. And then Turgeson, both of these individuals are in custody, but they have, they're serving prison sentences for other convictions that they already have. So while they're in custody, the speedy trials aren't as much of an impact since they're already in custody and they're getting credit for the time that they're sitting right now. And so Mr. Turgeson's attorney wanted a later date. He says he has numerous trials for homicides and wanted something after Mr. Steinhoff's trial. So that's why.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else for the district attorney's office? Don't see anything. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
Child support, Josie, anything to add to your report, or does anybody have questions for Josie? Josie first, if you've got
I
anything.
have
you want.
nothing to add to my report.
Any questions for Josie? Supervisor Bauer, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I was just questioning the burning barrel idea.
Yeah.
Is that how you burn? What I'm thinking of a 55-gallon drum out in the middle of a field, you're burning stuff in. Is that
Yes.
wrong words, maybe?
No, I think you're exactly right. So we had our triennial on-site audit, which wasn't really on-site, it was by Zoom, but it was 2 days in length. And in preparation for that, I discovered that our on-site paper shredder did not meet the IRS's guidelines for how small it needed to shred pieces of paper. So there's a lot of my counterparts that are also going through this audit right now. So I was on an email with them and they were researching the price for these compliant shredders, and they ranged anywhere from $1,200 to $1,600. The ironic thing is that we don't print and therefore need to shred this safeguarded federal tax information. This procedure has to be in place in case we accidentally were to print it in error. So if we were to print safeguarded information in error, my options for disposal are shredding, pulping, or burning. So to save $1,200 to $1,600, I now will have access to a burning barrel should I need it.
All right, I have a suggestion. Kindergartners can't read. So why don't you just submit that material to the kindergarten? They can all get out their blunt edge scissors. No, that wouldn't work. Huh?
I know. So
Okay.
you should see the specifications for Eau Claire County actually purchased a compliant shredder. And I've heard that the maintenance people hate it because it shreds the materials to something smaller than a grain of rice, and it goes everywhere and it's a mess. So they don't like it. So
speaking of the monitoring, is that a federal monitoring issue and triennial every 3 years?
every
So-
3 years, yes. So it is to make sure that our program is both compliant with state and federal program guidance in all areas. So the results should be coming to me relatively soon, I would think, how we did. And it's
How do you expect to have done?
I think it went well. It was obviously my first time going through this. So I think it went well. Catching the IRS issue in advance of the audit was helpful. The only other thing that I think we might get and it's not really a fail, it's just they'll make a finding that some sort of corrective action needs to take place. So we are required to post in our lobby a poster that just says what language you speak if you're a limited English speaker, and then the person can point to their primary language, and then we know what interpreter to get on the phone. We don't have the poster that the Department of Children and Families apparently wants us to have. We have a poster from Language Line, which is the entity that we contract our interpreter services from. So I don't know if they're gonna ding us for having the wrong language poster up, but we'll just order the right one, I guess.
I bet somebody sells them.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions for Josie? I do want to thank you for including that letter that came in for Vicky Sins and congratulate her. It is rare when somebody takes the time to express a thank you like that. And it's sure nice to read something like that once in a while. So I'm glad you included that.
Yeah.
Anything else? All right. Thank you, Josie.
Thank you.
Melissa, anything you want to add to your emergency management 911 report?
Nope, I think it's up
I
to
see you
date.
shaking your head.
I think
Anybody
it's
have-
good.
I think so too. Anybody have questions? Emergency management 911. Looks like you're off the hook.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
Mhm.
Who's next? Medical examiner. Marcy, how about you? Anything to add to your report? Anything you want to tell us about?
Nope, I think what I have in there is all I have to report, nothing additional.
Questions for Marcy regarding medical examiner report? Don't see anything there either. We're going to set a land speed record for judiciary and law meetings tonight.
Thank you.
Sheriff's office. Well, Sheriff, I sure hope you've got something going on because you got to kind of keep up with all the excitement from these other departments. Anything happening in your office?
Oh, status quo, business as usual. Not much more
Good
to
to
report.
hear.
No, our work on the quadruple homicide is kind of wrapping up and getting reports all finished up and sent up to St. Paul, who's Ramsey County is taking on the case. Obviously, we could prove that the homicides happened up there. We're still going to have some charges over here if we so wish to pursue them. I guess depending on Osborne, what he gets charged with in Minnesota, we may end up with him over here yet, and that's, I guess, up to the DA, to pursue that if that's the route we want to go. But obviously, 4 homicide charges trumps hiding corpses charges, so Ramsey County can get the cost for going to Arizona to get SUGs, and we don't have to take that out of our budget. So otherwise, no, nothing much more to report.
Was glad to see that development for sure. Also, I appreciate your sharing the news releases with the supervisors. I don't often get asked, but occasionally someone will ask me about something that's happening in the sheriff's department, and it's good to have, the basic information.
Sure.
Most of the time, I say it's none of my business. Ask, talk to somebody else. But so I appreciate that. Thank you. Anybody else have questions for the sheriff? Supervisor Bauer.
I was just curious, I read your report and you say that you're having trouble with the wages and benefits. I mean, are we that low compared to other applicants that are going somewhere else?
Yeah, there, in the last recruitment, I had an officer from Eau Claire Police Department applied. He wanted to come to work for us until he looked at the wages and benefits and said, I can't afford to take a pay cut right now. But it was a $5 an hour difference from what he was making at Eau Claire Police Department. This last recruitment, we had the same thing. Very highly qualified applicant, put it in the app, and then started doing some digging in our health insurance and wages, and just said, I can't afford, that deductible right now. My child has, some healthcare needs, and wasn't even comparable to what he had in his current agency. So it's a struggle. Included in my report, we had 17 people that started the process. We ended up interviewing 5 of them, and our 2 best candidates haven't even graduated from recruit school yet. We're going to have to do something to correct it. I refuse to lower my standards, on hiring. We've got an incredibly dedicated department, and I don't lose sleep at night worrying about somebody getting us in trouble liability wise and stuff right now. And if we start lowering our standards on our hiring, we're all probably going to be losing sleep and worrying about what liability is going to cost us in the future. So yeah, it's certainly a concern.
Thank you.
Jim Zons, I cannot hear you. You're not muted. Maybe the speaker on your computer is not on. Can anybody read lips?
His headset is not working.
He's going to shout. Jim, why don't you, if you got something, you could put it in the chat feature. Want to try that? Supervisor Bartlett, while we're waiting for Jim, if he's, go ahead.
Well, a couple of things I want to thank the sheriff. His deputies up in our township were very, very easy to work with and very nice. I really appreciated all the contact I had up there with the deputies when I had to open the town hall, and I appreciate the information that you sent out. And then a question that you brought up, the wages. We did a comp and class study, and I realized that the sheriff's department is still under the union contract. So, but the comp and class study, have you gotten the information from that? I know I haven't seen any, but I know that they've gotten it and they're working on that. Have you gotten the results of that? Did it show that we're way down in pay in the sheriff's department?
I just did an interview with the place that's facilitating that, and I have not seen any results. Obviously, my sworn staff, my patrol staff is under union contract, and they have to negotiate their wages. My jail staff, on the other hand, isn't, and we've gone to an open enrollment or recruitment for the jail staff, and we interview 2 or 3 people, seems like every week now, trying to fill. As of Friday, I think we're down 6 positions in the jail. People leaving for other jobs, going to Eau Claire County to dispatch, going to probation and parole. Another thing that hurts us in the jail is they're not protected retirement. They can go to Pierce County and work in their jail and have protected retirement. So that's a struggle we face, so I'm hoping the comp and class study corrects some of that stuff. And we'll see where it comes in.
Okay.
Jim Zones, I see you changed your method of communication. Oh, where'd he go? Oh, there
I'm
you
here.
are. Oh, good. We can hear you now, Jim. Go ahead with your question.
Yeah, I just switched over to my phone instead since internet in the hotel must be weird. Anyway, I just wanted to bring up kind of in relation to Supervisor Bauer's comment and the sheriff's response. I sat in a conference here at the Counties Association conference in La Crosse, and one of the topics is what sheriff departments are facing, and pretty much what the sheriff kind of outlined with wages and having qualified people is exactly the same thing that the three sheriffs who spoke at the conference had spoken about, as far as, you know, having a hard time competing with private sectors, having a hard time competing with people that want to have a more flexible schedule, because that isn't, you know, possible with a sheriff's department. Also having the ability to go from, and I don't know if our sheriff is having the same issue with someone who wants to transfer from, say, another county and has like 5 or 10 years in and wants to keep the same like wage level where they would be like if they were to start off in Dunn County, as opposed to starting at the bottom of the rung, not in the seniority area, but as far as like vacation benefits, pay level, and that type of thing. And so it was kind of some of the stuff that was brought up here at the Counties Association, and what all these sheriff's departments are facing. So I guess I don't know if it's any small consolation to the sheriff, is just to say you're not alone. You're facing, and he probably is pretty aware of this, that all the sheriff's departments are facing a lot of the same sort of issues. But it was interesting to hear the conversation here back and forth, just because I literally heard the exact same thing not more than 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
I talk to other sheriffs and go to conferences and stuff, and they're all dealing with the same thing. Tough to get somebody to sign up for working, you know, holidays, nights and weekends, and missing kids' birthdays, you know, when they can get a Monday through Friday job, 8 to 4:30, that pays the same or more. So it's a struggle that we need to address, I think, and hopefully we can get there.
Supervisor Rogers, go ahead.
Is there any avenue that's moving forward to try to help with that, or is it just waiting on some studies to come back?
Right now, the comp and class study will probably address wages for the jail staff and my patrol supervisors, because they're not in the union, but we enter into negotiations with the union this fall yet. I don't know when that's scheduled, but my chief deputy and patrol captain will sit in on those, and I'll certainly be available if you need to bounce anything off me. But we're just at the end of a 3-year contract right now, so we'll have to go in negotiations this fall.
Anything else for the sheriff? Appreciate Supervisor Zahn sharing what he heard at the conference today. And frankly, employment issues similar to this are the standard topic of conversation virtually everywhere. I just went to an IFLS library system meeting. We approved a wage and benefit scale for next year, and had almost the same conversation. It's just tough to find people, and you know, the competition is fierce.
Yeah, I will, to answer one of Jim's questions, we don't necessarily have lateral transfer for you know, any sick time credit or vacation credit, but I do have the ability to start somebody off, you know, close to top pay, so they only maybe be at because our top pay in the union goes from well, you acquire top pay within 3 years, even if you start at the bottom. So years of service, I've, you know, been able to steal some people from Menominee Police Department that had 11, 12 years of service with Menominee Police Department. I was able to start them at 30-month level, so they only had to wait 6 months to get to top pay. So it wasn't as, you know, much of a damper to their pocketbook by taking a little pay cut to come work for the county. So I do have that ability.
Would lateral transfer help? Is that come up as an issue with vacation, sick time, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it certainly would, and that's been a discussion in the sheriff's group lately, that a lot of people are creating lateral transfer policies and stuff. My hands are obviously kind of tied with that. HR and county administration controls a lot of that ability, and the union contract doesn't address it. So I'm hoping that's something that maybe can get addressed in the union negotiations this year as well. Somebody that comes from another agency that's got 4 weeks of vacation, at least if we can offer them, something up front on a lateral transfer, instead of them starting at zero and accumulating it, over the first year, if they've got something. For us, it's, they get floating holidays, credit for floating holiday pay, which they use like vacation. It's, almost like PTO time. If they're assigned to patrol, that is, and all the new staff usually is, obviously. So they do get some credit for holiday pay, but they start at zero with vacation and sick time. And that would be a huge benefit to be able to poach from people from other agencies. And I hate doing that, but that's how you get qualified applicants.
Must be interesting when you and the other sheriffs get together, all trying to steal each other's employees.
I try not to steal them from other sheriffs, but police departments are fair game.
Anything else for the sheriff? And employment issues are going to be a hot topic in every department for the foreseeable future, I think. Thank you, Sheriff. Courts, Katie, anything? Oh, I'm sorry, before we continue, Brenda, did you have anything you wanted to say about the jail situation?
No, I don't think so, unless the sheriff would like to touch on anything, but.
You got the numbers in the report. Thank you. All right, now the courts. Katie, anything you would like to add to your report?
I do not have anything additional to add unless there's questions.
Questions for Katie regarding the courts? How's our new judge working out?
Yeah, they're both doing really well in court. They each have a little different style that we're all learning, but it's really going well.
Good. Nothing else there. Thank you. CJCC, Sarah, anything you'd like to add?
No, nothing to add.
Anybody have any questions for Sarah regarding CJCC? I think this is the same report we saw in admin, right? Yeah.
That is correct.
All right. Okay, last shot. Anybody have any last minute questions for the department heads on their reports? If not, we will move along in the agenda. There's nothing for item 6 or 7. Item number 8, we have a budget adjustment for the sheriff's office to account for a donation for the purchase of a drone. And that document is in your packet as well. I would entertain a motion to approve, and then if there are questions, comments, we can entertain those. Bob Bauer moves, Carl Vandermill seconds. We have a motion to approve the budget amendment, and then it would actually go to the executive committee. They handle the budget or the finances, but recommend this to the executive committee for passage. I have just one question. The $38.50, is that the full cost of a drone fully equipped with missiles and radar and TV cameras and little miniature pilots and stuff?
That's kind of a funny story. We are actually by taking two of my patrol sergeants to the last Badger Sheriff's Conference, we were entered into a drawing. So anybody that brought or registered 3 people or more for this conference got entered into a drawing to win a drone. And so I took 2 of my patrol sergeants to the search and rescue conference, and so we got entered for this drone, and we won. And so this dollar amount was what the drone was supposed to cost. And as it turns out, by the time we had the conference, they had made arrangements with this drone company, and DJI, the drone maker, discontinued this model. So we're probably going to upgrade a little bit and try and come up with a little bit more money to get this drone, because the drone that this is specifically priced for, they discontinued by the time we had the conference and we were awarded it. So we're gonna probably come up with a little more money and upgrade the drone so it does have all the missiles and autopilot and all that fun stuff on it. And it's a drone you can fly at night, so you can actually see thermal and heat sources and things like that. Some of the other $1,000 drones that we have are good for daytime searches, but they don't do any good at night because they don't find a heat source. So this is.
Thank you. And just for all our loyal viewers out there, I should probably clarify. All this talk about missiles is a joke. I'm pretty sure this drone will not be armed. Is that correct, Sheriff?
That is correct. Only with
Good,
a camera and a light and actually a speaker. So you can actually, if you find somebody, you can direct them out of the woods or something. So you can voice control, or there's a speaker on it. So you can actually guide somebody out of if they're lost or something.
Good. Thank you for clarifying. Sometimes my stupid mouth gets me in trouble and I have to backtrack and kind of cover myself a little bit. We have a motion and a second. Other discussion on the budget resolution to accept the drone. Don't see anybody. Then the motion is to forward this to the executive committee with our approval. All those in favor say aye.
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 Is there any opposed? Hearing none. That takes care of that. And I believe that's the only order of business we had tonight. Item number 9, announcements. Anybody have announcements to make? Anything coming up that we ought to be aware of? Don't see any announcements. Chairman Bartlett, any hot topics from the convention that we need to, well, we can talk about those at a different time.
No, I don't have any. I went, the ones I've been hitting on are sustainable budgets and different revenue sources. So they're probably not as exciting as what Supervisor Zahns went to.
And that's because you don't get enough budget talk on your normal life. Is that right?
I thought maybe different ideas, but everybody's facing the same thing. So, yeah.
Well, my response to that. Any other announcements? Seeing none, our next meeting is scheduled for October 25th. That should be, if I recollect correctly, the fourth Monday of the month, and 4:30 p.m. And we will continue meeting on Zoom until something changes. Okay, that takes us to the end of the agenda. I want to thank everybody for making the meeting possible. Krista, thank you. Katie, thank you. All department heads, thanks for your contributions to the county and to the meeting. And with that, the meeting is adjourned, and everybody stay well and healthy.